Three, two, one. Get ready to kick off your week with Weeksauce. And if you enjoy this show, find more podcasts like it over at amove.tv. Greetings! Welcome back, and happy Monday, everyone. This is Weeksauce, the 12th episode of Weeksauce. I'm Garrett Weinzel, he's Kyle Ferguson, and I will say good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, Garrett.
How you doing, man?
I'm not awake.
You're not awake, huh? I mean, you're the one that agreed. I said, hey, Kyle, how you feel about doing like a morning show type thing? And you're like, yeah, let's do it, Monday, noon your time. And I go, are you sure?
I mean, it's 9, a sane person is awake. I am awake every Monday at this time, but oh man, I rotted my brains this weekend on video games.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's lovely, man. I'm glad to hear that. I feel like every time I talk to you over the weekend for like, basically since Christmas, you're just like, yeah, man, busy, got a lot of work to do. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you got
the car thing as well.
The whole what? Oh yeah, the car thing. Yeah.
To have that over is nice.
Oh, you're done?
Hey, it's done. The car was totaled. It's over. We're not getting a car for now. We are.
Gotcha. That's what I thought. Maybe you had found a car.
No. We set it. The grocery delivery service is very nice. If you do a 4-hour window, there's no delivery fee, so it's actually not costing us anything bonus. If anything, we have to sketch out everything on a list before we submit the order. So it's very healthy, because you don't plan to, like, eating unhealthy is more of a whim kind of thing. And when all you have is frozen veggies in the house, you kind of go, damn, okay. Well, we can't drive anywhere anyway, so let's eat the damn frozen veggies. So it's been very cost efficient and quite healthy so far.
Right. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear. I wouldn't think any delivery service would be cost efficient.
It's someone does the grocery shopping for you and puts them all in a box and shows up at your door, and it's free. I mean, it's kind of crazy, right? But they want to sell groceries, and
I didn't know that. Okay. If I wanted to do that here, I'd have to pay a premium.
Maybe we order a certain amount. Maybe it's the amount of old people and hippies in the area who don't have jalopies anymore. I'm not sure what made it work. But I thought so as much, too. I thought there would be a hefty fee and some sort of crazy refrigerated van situation. And there is a refrigerated van, but it's all good.
I mean, if it's relatively close to you, I mean, they could just get away with like a cooler unless you're ordering like an entire pig's worth of ribs.
Well, not that much, but certainly a whole week's worth of groceries in one big go.
Yeah, I know. That makes sense. Well, that's cool, man. I mean, it's a completely alien concept to me. We had this conversation with Justin Robert Young when we were out at BlizzCon. We somehow got into this weird conversation about how he thinks cars are essentially like that old person thing. Like if you're like, yeah, I've got a car, I like having a car. It's like it's basically saying like, yeah, I've got. I don't know. Actually, I can't remember his analogy. I'm going to say it's like I've got a horse. like it's this thing that you really don't need, but it's that old school jam.
I mean, in Florida, you need it. There aren't enough sidewalks in the whole state.
That was my counter argument to Mr. Justin, which was you don't live in Florida anymore. You live in Oakland, which is basically a hippy-dippy wasteland which rules do not apply to the majority of the rest of the country.
Right. I'm in a very special situation here being across the water from Seattle where we have all the big city comforts because people live over here who work in the city without being the big city. So it's a really weird feature.
Yeah. Here, I mean, we've only had Lyft and Uber here for maybe a year, and I think Lyft maybe like 6 months. So it's even though it's here, there's not a lot of it. Like, I still have to wait like upwards of 20 minutes once I land to find an Uber to take me home from the airport.
Right, LA was pure Lyft magic, of course. The
Right.
place was packed.
Yeah, you don't even need. I mean, you really don't need a car as long as you're fine paying, for a ride. But I'm also on top of the fact that it's just not that convenient not to have a car in Florida. I also like cars, so this is just all alien territory to me. I'm like, what do you mean you just decided not to buy a car?
Yeah, and I mean, we're doing the big move and getting to keep that gift from my grandfather rather than spend it on something we really don't want in the first place has been the preferred kind of mindset here. The saddest part about the whole experience is that we're not getting a car fast enough, that we're not getting back on the horse. And that's the worst part about it all, because we are walking quite a bit for enjoyment too. Because, we used to just go on drives and explore the area, go to a national park, and now we're walking to a park, and my legs are dying today. Probably why I'm half asleep. If my legs are sleepy or sore, all of me thinks it's dead. And my body is like, you cannot move today. I'm like, well, it's just your legs. Once you get into the chair, you can work just fine. It's like, no, I will not. You're insane. Go lay down. But we're not back on the horse, and cars are horrifying. And that's the sad part. The trust was broken. The lady parked inside our trunk. And I just assume every car, you see it now, like every car out there. And like, I don't want to be that guy. I love getting back on the horse. I hate being scared of things. But I just looking around the parking lot outside, so many dings, so many cheapos, tape holding together bumpers. And you're just like, so you people screw up all the time? Like, this isn't something that just like happens once in a while. You are all constantly screwing up driving. It's simple, but
I mean, I understand it. I also think you're completely crazy.
So when you're walking down the street and you hear the cars behind you, you don't know if they're going to obey the rules of simple don't park in your trunk practices, and it's a little freaky.
So are you saying that you are more mentally freaked out now, like not having a car, or the idea of getting a car again is freaking you out?
No, just cars in general are still spooky, and that's the worst part about just ripping off that Band-Aid and going more cold turkey, because it wasn't a choice.
Well, let me double it down for you. You should be more scared just walking on foot, because a car hitting you would do a lot more damage. Naturally.
But, I mean, it's also it's just madness when you look at the whole thing. The companies create these cars over and over, and the insurance companies want to have a turnover on the cars, and therefore a car is totaled before its life would be expected, because there's a 2019 being made right now, and they need to get the 2018s out, and it was just predatory,
I'm that weird guy. I like it. I like car shopping. I like going and haggling, but again,
and
like, as I mentioned,
lucky you're in the state for it, right?
That too, yeah. Actually, I don't know what is wrong with Washington and car buying, but it seems royally screwed.
I think it's a privileged requirement to say those two words together. In Florida, it's a straight requirement. You need a car today. You're going to walk away with a car today, because the state will not take you anywhere without a car. It
also seemed like the last time I went car shopping, that the snowbirdness, if I can coin a phrase, of my state makes it a buyer's market, because there's like every 6 months there's an influx of people, and at the end of that 6 months those people leave, and apparently a lot of them decide to sell their Florida vehicles when they go back. Apparently it's a thing, because I must of the many cars I went to go see, God, probably over a quarter of them were like, yeah, some old guy owned it. He's the first owner. He brought it down from Pennsylvania, decided he didn't want to bring it back with him. Yeah, like that was more than a quarter of the cars I looked at. That seemed to be the history. That was what the guy told me, and it's also what the Carfax seemed to confirm.
And up here, it's all a lot of, you got to get to the city, don't you?
Kyle,
I need this today.
I wasn't prepared to share this story, but I'll pull back the curtain to my own faults as a human being. I experienced some straight up road rage yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, I had some hardcore road rage because I love that people from places other than Florida come to Florida and spend their money here. It's good for our economy. I hate everything else that comes with that. We're at the tail end here of snowbird season. Usually Easter hits and then they all go home. And Easter cannot get here fast enough. I am so sick of license plates from all corners of the eastern portion of this country and even the country to the north. A lot of Canadian plates as well. That yesterday on a one-lane road, a woman in a minivan with a New York plate randomly hitting on her brakes when no one was in front of her while she was also doing 5 under the speed limit broke something inside of me. Yeah. So I did the thing where once it got to 2 lanes again, I sped up, got in front of her, and was brake checking her poor ass for 2 intersections.
Oh, no.
I was just so angry. I gave it a wide berth. I'm still an asshole. I'm aware I'm an asshole. I was in this funny like valley where I want to screw with her, but I'm also afraid that she's so incapable of driving that when I do screw with her, she'll actually hit me. So I made sure there was enough space. But yeah, I did it, Kyle, and I regret nothing.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah. That's about the reaction I would expect.
I guess as your friend, I wish you hadn't. But I am pleased that Katie was perhaps relieved of some stress that may have been talked about the rest of the night if your activity was a valve.
She knew it was coming too. She just kind of gave me that look like, you're gonna do it, aren't you? And she goes, just get some distance. That woman should not be driving. She's going to hit you.
They're wandering out of their lines and just like, oh my God. And I'm like, thank goodness for the city. Thank goodness for the city that Kyle was taken off the road 35 miles an hour. The speed limit through the city, he did over and over again. It was a terror. Every night you could see him coming around 7 o'clock at night, going out for groceries. Here he comes holding up all the traffic with the speed limit. Yeah. So congratulations, Kyle. You're a significantly more mature individual than I am. I would like overreact, I think. I don't know. I would get, I feel like so the reaction I just had yesterday is to someone braking for no reason in front of me. I feel like if were I in your situation where I had just been rear-ended, I would go buy a truck and just put the most obscene car-destroying hitch on the back so that if it ever happened again, it would shear the car behind me in twain. I mean, we certainly thought about getting a Fortress, but I'm excited. It's super cool, and the city is expanding its public transit in the near future, and we're even maybe planning to move back to the city, and that is a crazy thought, because when we left Chicago, we said, no, hell no, never again. And that's its own pile of worms to get into. But the idea of actually wanting to be there and not working that downtown job that doesn't pay for life in the first place there, it's really exciting.
Oh, and cool.
We've made a lot of efforts recently. About 8 months ago, we kind of looked around at ourselves and said, we don't have enough people in our lives. We have internet people, Twitter and quotes and emails, but not enough human interaction. And that's when we really started hanging out with the core guys pretty heavily and got into the there will be dungeons kind of ideas. And it's been really good getting to have real people, because they're not internet people, even the worst guy, even the guy that would say the most vitriolic thing on earth in the most politically charged climate you can think of, he's just going to hold the door for you and say, have a good day now, real people are fantastic. And I'm kind of excited to see him again. It's been nice.
Cool. We have one guy in our neighborhood who we still avoid because he would probably still drop those vitriolic comments in this politically charged climate that we have in our neighborhood.
Sure.
Yeah. He's got that truck. That truck with hand-painted aggressive bullshit on the toolbox. That just makes me wonder, why would you go through that much effort to ruin a very expensive Snap-on toolbox that would have had great resale value?
Why embody that everywhere you go to? Like, isn't there somewhere in life you want to be a little stealthy about it?
Not in Florida.
Yeah, this is true.
Sadly, not in Florida.
Yeah. That's the thing. You're in Florida, you got a car, so after you piss off everybody, you can drive away. Here we got to be nice because we're walking everywhere. You got to take the bus together.
Most of the people in the neighborhood, pretty rad. And I agree with your sentiment for the most part. But right now, there's that like 5% that will still accost you in person to your face.
Sure. Oh, and not like it doesn't, but here it's signing petitions outside the grocery store,
Oh,
you
right.
get accosted with the opposite.
Oh yeah. It's the other way here. It's the other way here. My favorite, although we're getting that too now. I went the last 2 car shows I went to. Excuse me, are you registered to vote here? I'm always just like, leave me alone. I just want to look at the supercharged Mustangs. Go away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's always fun. But hey, I did the opposite of considering moving to a modern city society this weekend. I went out to the middle of nowhere and chopped up an oak tree.
Sweet.
So if you're unaware, my parents live out in the middle of nowhere. Where we live, if you say east of 75, that is east of the main highway, that kind of just lets you know what you're dealing with, which is large pieces of land and nothing around. That's where my parents live. We live out in the middle of the boonies.
Yeah, it's like flat Georgia.
Yeah, actually, yeah. That's not inaccurate. So they live out there. They live in a flood zone. They live near the Myakka River, if anyone's familiar with the area. And Hurricane Irma came through, a few months back and took one of the many oak trees on their property and just knocked it the hell over, destroying a huge section of their fence and almost destroying the little pole barn that Katie and I got married in, Kyle.
But it survived. Love survives.
Yes. A couple holes in the roof, but nothing that can't be mended. Also, there's no walls or anything. It would be pretty easy to fix that thing in general. But yeah. So God, this thing was probably older than all of us, like any member of my family. And holy hell, man, that was a day.
Were you using machinery, or did you get in there with the axe?
Machinery. We broke 2 chainsaws in the course of the day.
Oh.
So we went through 2 chainsaws. Luckily, the third held out. Dad went and rented a wood splitter. Because he's like, well, we've got all this oak. We might as well make some firewood.
Sweet.
And if you check my Twitter or my Instagram, you can see a photo of the wood pile. It's absurd.
Yeah, there's a lot of wood out of that tree.
Yeah, and that's just the limbs. The trunk is still, for the most part, sitting on the ground, cut into large pieces. Because it's just too much wood. We're not sure what to do with it.
Minecraft lied.
I guess, yeah, exactly. But a hydraulic wood splitter is very fun. For about the first 2 hours, we were out there for about 8. So after a while, I was just on autopilot.
Yeah.
Pick up a stump, throw it on the splitter, cut it, turn it, cut it again, put up the other half that fell off, cut that again, stack it. And
there's a nice zen that comes with that long of a physical routine.
Yeah, it's a nice zen until the morning after, and you realize that you're not 18 anymore.
Yeah. I think at 18, I just complained more, though. I think I was still just as sore.
Oh, dude, I was insufferable in my teens. Yeah. Growing up out there, Dad, there was always chores to be done, and I was all like, I don't want to do this. I want to be doing something. I was a terrible person.
Oh, and you hear about like kids learning the word no, and it's not even that they learn no, it's that they become autopiloted for no because it's now an option. And you have to, you want some food? No. Okay. Oh God, food's going away. You wanted it, but you just said no. So it's jerks. Jerk kids.
There's an anecdote from Billy West that I'm going to misquote about how he came up with the voice for Fry, and it was mostly him being annoyed that, you know, in his early career he kind of lost jobs because other people came in and could just do the same voice. So with Fry, he was just like, well, I'll just do my own voice, but when I was younger. And he said when he was younger, everything was always, but why? That's the essence of Fry. It's just this kind of whiny, nasally, but why? Why do we have to do that?
The one I heard from him, too, was that it was a combination of every annoying person that ever phoned in on the radio.
I haven't heard that one, but that's really accurate.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah. So that's basically, I think, that was definitely me as a teenager growing up. Like, I never rose to action.
No, and it's a choice, you know, in the end. Like, I remember I was actually dating Kristen in college, and something came up, you know, and it was basically like I was, okay, gosh, this is kind of twisted, but she was gonna head to a test. You know, because we were in college, she was going to go take the test. And she had done her hair, you know, she had this below her ears, about her chin length hair. And for her test, she had just taken the middle flap that would hang straight over her eyes and pinned it straight back. So she had this thing where it was this piece in the middle going straight back, pinned in the top, and then 2 sheets along the side.
Yeah. I remember.
I was going to walk her to class, so I'm like, you know, I want to fix this hair. I want her to look cute while I'm walking alongside her. So I just reach up and start messing with it. And she's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, I can fix your hair. I can fix it. I'm going to a test. I'm like, well, it could look better. And she goes, you're not perfect either. And my heart went, what did you say? And it wasn't even like, there was no anger. It was just such a mortal blow to my ego that I wasn't perfect. Like, what a stupid thought. Insanely stupid that would ever affect it. Hey, you're not perfect. And you're like, no, how could you say that? But it hit hard at 18, 19. I had to wake up that day.
Oh, you needed that, man.
Yeah.
I'm on Team Kristen here. This is an interesting conversation to have. It's like, I don't know. I don't know whatever scared me to never comment on superficial things about my significant other that I would like to comment on. But yeah, I never went down that road.
I wouldn't even say that's like a road. It was just a momentary frustration. My strategy has always been compliment, and you have to strike it. Oh gosh, people think I get in trouble for this, but the whole family loves dogs so much. They don't mind the comparison. Kristen told the comparison last time to her family, and they loved it.
You always compare people to dogs.
I know, but it's true. No, it's true. It's true. The best way to do it is to catch them while they're doing something good, right? Like, you can't reprimand them. You should catch them at the right moment.
This is already bad, Kyle.
No, it's not bad. It's not.
It's like you're talking about training a human being.
What do you think? What do you think human interaction is for the most part, right? Like,
God, you're killing me, man.
I find my wife attractive, and at the time when I was dating her, she had a myriad of shorts. Some were great, and some were not. And so I really did try for the good days on the good shorts to be like, dang, you look good today. And then hold my tongue on the other days. I mean, it seems nuts to talk about it like this.
That comes off so passive aggressive. Like I'm not going to insult it, but I'm actively not going to compliment it so that hopefully subliminally they take a key.
But it does work, you know?
I will admit that I cared about these things when I was younger. Now, though, I just don't care. I'm just like, how do you want to look? However you want to leave the house is fine with me.
Right, but we have that experience and all of those weddings and parties and stuff that we've been to where we know, like, and same thing with me, right? Like, I'm walking out in in my hairband, you know, in my underwear, scratching my belly. And I appreciate the fact that she can go, I've seen him look good before, and I will accept this version of Kyle that is about to watch this movie with me.
Yeah, I don't, man, I don't know how the hell we ended up here, but apparently we're on this conversation of give and take in relationship, and that's I think the point you're trying to make is that there are things I think we all prefer, but you also need to give a little in return.
I think too it was an example of what an ass we can all be when we're younger and totally focused on us.
Yes. Yeah. And it's just for some reason at the time not realizing I was a complete piece of shit. My parents, like, they did everything for me. They supported me in like every way you could possibly imagine, in ways that were extremely inconvenient for them. And yet when it was chore time, I still complained like just a piece of crap.
Yeah. I think for my own sake, there was a problem growing up that I would like to fix in my own family home someday. I didn't feel like I owned anything. And maybe it was a thankfulness that was taught into me that, you know, there was lots of thank yous. Everything was a thank you. Wow, how so incredible. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. And that meant there was a lot of respect. And certainly when my mom had friends over or their business acquaintances around, they really flattered my mom on how thankful of kids we were. The worst thing we could be called in the house is a spoiled brat. And that would come out every now and again if we weren't thankful enough. But it led to this world where I didn't own any of the stuff in my home and nothing was mine. So therefore, I had this real rejection period where I don't even live here anymore. I remember saying, this isn't my home.
Huh.
And that's the big thing I want to solve for my, and I don't know how you do that, but
I'm starting.
I mean, maybe
you're putting me in this weird headspace that I wasn't even thinking of, but I think maybe because we lived in the middle of nowhere, like my parents became the enemies.
Maybe, and you were isolated there, you were trapped there with them. If they were ever busy, it was their fault that you couldn't go out and be cool for the evening. I don't know.
Well, because like I remember when I was younger and we lived in a more traditional neighborhood, like that kid down the street I didn't like that was the enemy. Like not like less so my parents. But then when it was just my mom, my dad, and my brother all day every day, I just went nuts. And on top of that, 56K modem. I didn't really have the internet to escape into either.
Yeah, then you had to get someone to drive you to the store to get a game. There wasn't some entertaining yourself for free wasn't easy in the past. Yeah. I probably played with Connects and toys in general way longer than kids nowadays do. Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about children, not because I think we want to have any, but I've just been having this hypothetical because it keeps coming up of how the hell am I going to raise my kids? And I think that's one of the big things that's keeping me away from it is I don't know. There are all these things that my parents did that I will not do, and I don't know what I would do. Is like the big thing. Like I'm just like I don't know. What do I do about schooling and religion? And because I just basically disagree with everything my family did in that regard.
It's easier when you have someone always saying it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to is Kristen goes, well, my family was happy and I want to do it. So that's all that matters in the end.
Yeah. So I don't know. All I know is that when I moved out, I never became closer with my family. The day I moved out, my relationship with my parents got infinitely better.
That seems healthy.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think a lot of kids need that. I think the best thing my parents could have done was ship my ass off to like a military school. Because the second I didn't have the excruciatingly wide breadth of know-how that my dad had, I gained a lot more respect for my mom and dad.
It's a tough thing to gather.
I couldn't fix a toilet, man. Once the toilet breaks and you can't fix it, that's a humbling moment.
I mean, we all have. I mean, mine was luckily when I was 15 at summer camp, but when you can't even do your own laundry. I mean, I think that's still too old, but happily admit that I got to go to college at least knowing how to do my own laundry.
Yeah, I mean, my mom always did my laundry for me, but that was an easier hurdle to get over because I was just
Sure.
like, I just followed the directions on the bottle. Although I did shrink quite a few of my shirts to the point where they were never worn again. But I think
We've all made mistakes.
I think that's a minor hiccup. Not being able to relieve myself in a civilized manner was a much larger hurdle, in my opinion.
Oh my!
When the toilet breaks, I don't know what your brain
Oh.
took that. I was tying it back in.
Just using it in general.
Yeah.
I thought you were admitting you had some trouble at 3 years old, 2 years old.
No. Once I moved out and the toilet broke, that was a problem. But anyways, man, this went off the rails.
Hey, it's life, man. It's off the rails.
Yeah. So, let's do the thing let's be extremely unoriginal and talk about the Oscars because everyone's going to. Yeah. I didn't watch them. I rarely watch them anymore. Used to watch it with mom all the time growing up. Don't know why. Neither my mom or I particularly give a shit about the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. But it was just this thing we would watch.
Well, it was advertised in the past as dinner and a show kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I cared about the results this year because there were some folks up for awards that I'm a big fan of who haven't won before, and they all pretty much cleaned up with the exception of one. Well, technically two. But so I'm feeling, having not watched it, fairly satisfied with the Oscars this year.
Having not watched it, were they successful in their avoidance of political turmoil?
I mean, having read, hot takes from this morning, it seems like they struck a relatively good balance.
Okay.
I saw a lot of praise from Mr. Jimmy Kimmel hosting it, but again, I didn't watch it. So this is an opinion based on other opinions.
Good opinions.
Right. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, that's always going to be there, man. I mean, it's the Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it, why that was such a thing. And without the internet, they really were in the past like, did you know about Tibet? And we're all like, oh, I didn't. Now in the days of the internet, I can see why they were calling for a bit of a ceasefire, as we're all like, yes, thank you, actor. We are aware. We all have the internet. Moving on.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. Like, I get where it was coming from, back in the 90s when I was first watching it and was significantly less aware of these type of things. But nowadays it seems increasingly less relevant to me in my brain, like in the overall, I don't know, hierarchy of how I become aware of issues.
Right.
Like the Academy Awards is not it. Just period. Straight up. Like there, nothing I read about that was addressed last night was something I wasn't already abundantly aware of. But like I said, I was more. I pulled open the winners and read it like a stat sheet. Like, oh, who won last night? And this is particularly interesting because a bunch of people won that I think should have won, but for movies I haven't seen yet. So like, I'm really stoked that Guillermo del Toro walked home with a couple of awards. Because I remember back in 2007 being like, if Pan's Labyrinth doesn't win, I'm going to be pissed. And it didn't win. And he hasn't been up for an Academy Award since. So it's been 11 years, as far as I know. And freaking Shape of Water, like, cleaned house last night.
Shape of Water was the good version of a lot of movies. It was the good version of Amelie, in my opinion. It was the good version of Hellboy. As funny as that is.
Oh, I love Hellboy. I'm so mad he's not making anymore.
Hellboy's great, but, the fire lady. The only reason the fire lady was with the devil is because he was immune to fire, right? But really, that relationship should have gone in the water.
Fair enough. I just feel like Golden Army was setting up something biblical, and we'll never get to see the fruit of that seed.
Maybe we won't. I mean, Paul Newman, what's his name? Hellboy.
Paul Newman?
That's not his name.
Oh my God, Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman.
Actually, okay, now that I say it, I completely understand
rhymes.
where your brain went. Yep, we're good. We're on the same page. But
he's not getting any young. But God, I love his voice, and oh my God, his lich in Adventure Time, and even his little side bit in Pacific Rim and all that.
Yeah. Oh God, he was good. But that spoiler alert for Pacific Rim. I'm kind of sad that he won't be in the sequel.
That is a Del Toro flick, yeah.
The first one, yes, he's not doing Uprising. To my knowledge, I'm pulling it up. Yeah, no, he's not directing it.
Back in my day, when we made sequels, we used the director, or at least half of the director.
Did we?
Got someone else to do it.
Did we? I'm not sure we did. Look at all the Star Wars.
Yeah, well, but still, like, George Lucas was there, even though, the principal cameraman and the main directors were changing.
Fair enough. I mean, he did
Pacific Rim's in a weird spot too, just like Bastion, the video game. I listened to the soundtrack so much that it is way better than the movie. And same with Bastion. I just tried a couple nights ago. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now, before I got into Slay the Spire. I was trying out Bastion. And you got that ring a ding a ding a ding ding a ding a dong boom boom, and then the guy's doing the voiceover. It's like great music. Bastion, amazing music. But they keep changing out my damn weapon when I don't want them to, and it's so 2000. What would that even be? Like 14 in that way. Like it's so indie. It's so many ways, and the soundtrack has far surpassed the legend that the own video game can hold up.
It came out in 2011. I still have not played Bastion, and this is every time that leaves my mouth for the next week, I'll get tons of tweets and emails saying I should, and I know I should. I just haven't gotten there yet, but I've heard it. I've seen it. I love everything about it. I just haven't played it.
It's old at this point, It's like... Yeah, Hyperlight Drifter is the new version of it, and forward we go.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. Like, I haven't seen a game that I like the look of that much. I don't think since.
It's a lot more 3D than it used to look.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the Oscars. I mean, yes. I was also like my brain. It's like I think about it like I think of World Series or Super Bowls where it's teams I don't care about, so I just end up going for the team that hasn't won before.
Sure.
So I haven't seen most of the movies that were nominated this year, with the exception of like Get Out, which was amazing. And I think that's it. Like, I'm trying to think of other things that were nominated. I guess Star Wars technically was. Blade Runner was. That was the one where I was like, yeah, I really respect that. Because Blade Runner beat out Star Wars for visual effects. And I'm like, yeah, if I had to really think about it, I think I'd give it to Blade Runner too. As good as Last Jedi looked.
Sure, if you're doing art of the movies and showing me photos as paintings, Blade Runner wins. There was some cool stuff in Star Wars, but it was still a little too... It's salt.
I didn't care about that part, but the visual on Crate is the one thing that makes me actually take a second to think about my decision between Last Jedi and Blade Runner, because the visual of Crate, of the ships flying over this white surface that explodes in this just violent red color. It's one of the most gorgeous just visual things I've ever seen. But Blade Runner, like visual per minute, just blew my mind.
The VPM.
Yeah. Yes, good old VPM. But yeah, but like, and then like the other one, like I was really glad Gary Oldman finally won, but it's also a Ford movie I haven't seen, and my like shallow like thought is, yeah, movies before this, Gary Oldman probably should have won for, like, if you want to, I don't know, again, haven't seen it, but I would assume the quality of some of his past films versus one where I can't even really tell it's him because of how many damn prosthetics he's wearing. I don't know. It's just weird. It's one of those weird things. Like, I'm glad he won, but for this movie?
Well, it's the Leonardo DiCaprio situation, I feel, where they're just like, he's going to be around. He'll get one eventually. We've got other fish to fry. We've got other careers to advance. Let's give it to someone else this year.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thought is, like, I don't know. I don't know how bummed out to be about that. Like, is this the one he should have gotten it for? Probably not, but I think the man definitely deserves one.
Well, it's the old. Star Trek Nemesis is one of the best Star Trek movies ever made in terms of action and story, but it came out the same weekend as Lord of the Rings, and under the bus it goes.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of my thought. So I came out of this. I think the only movie that from the awards has kind of sold me on going to see it is Three Billboards.
Boy, that sounds boring.
It does, but it also it won a bunch of awards, and it reminded me that Sam Rockwell is in it, and I am such a big Sam Rockwell fan.
What is that even about with a name like that?
It's here's a completely an idiot's synopsis of Three Billboards. I believe is it a woman's child was murdered or something, and they're not doing a good job solving it, so she buys billboard space to personally insult the local PD.
That sounds like a heavy retweet, but not a movie.
Yeah, I don't know. The buzz from the Oscars has tipped me over the edge of I will rent this eventually.
Woman buys billboards, Florida woman. It's perfect.
I was already sold on Shape of Water. I just haven't seen it because we just couldn't find the time to get out to the theater. I'm a huge Del Toro fan, so I was going to see it anyway. But
it's good.
I just haven't yet.
It's enjoyable.
Yeah, so for the most part, the Oscars hasn't changed my mind on movies I want or don't want to see, with the exception of Three Billboards. But yeah, and then the one that really had me torn was like the original screenplay, because it was up between Jordan Peele for Get Out and then Emily Gordon and Kumail Nanjiani for The Big Sick. I haven't seen The Big Sick yet. Again, I'm going to. It's freaking streaming too. I can basically see it for free. But that's just a swath of comedians whom I love deeply, and just kind of blew the lid off film in the past year in a very surprising way.
I don't know any of these names.
Did you ever watch Key and Peele? Because Jordan Peele is Peele of Key and Peele.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, so he went and wrote and directed Get Out, which blew my mind. I just loved that movie to pieces. It's a great horror comedy. And then, Kumail and Emily Gordon, not only are they married, not only are they a part of the Nerdist Network, not only did they used to host one of my favorite video game podcasts, but they're also comedians. And Kumail's in Silicon Valley right now. Have you not watched Silicon Valley?
No.
Oh,
no.
Damn, dude. That's a funny show. You should watch that. But, yeah. So that was the one where I was like, oh, man, I want them all to... Can they all win? Can they all win? And Peele ended up winning. But that was the one where I was just like, oh, I want more winners in this category. But
and what was Pixar doing?
Well, Pixar was nominated, so of course they won.
For what?
Coco.
Oh, right. I haven't seen Coco yet.
I haven't seen Coco yet either. And actually, this is the 1 year Pixar is winning where I'm not cynical about it. Because I'm like, yeah, looking at the other nominees, having not even seen Coco, I think Coco should win. But yeah, this makes me want to go on my Pixar rant, which is I'm a little, not this year, but overall, I'm excruciatingly sick of Pixar continuing to win Best Animated Film.
Well, I mean, they just kind of do. Like, we all know what Coco is going to be like. I haven't seen it. I haven't read a synopsis. I have no friends. My dead ancestors are here to party with me. Ah, yay, I became social. Woo! You guys have to leave. Oh, but I became a man.
I can't wait to watch it and see how accurate that is.
It
sounds like a Pixar movie.
That's what happened.
It sounds like a Pixar movie. I mean, still, but like looking back years, it like even if it's not Pixar, it's Disney animated films, which has Lasseter and Pixar hands all over it. So I don't know. It just I'm really over it. Last year was Zootopia, which was up against Kubo and the Two Strings, and that just makes me want to scream because I'm like, damn it, give Laika some love here. They make amazing films.
Mm-hmm.
Inside Out was the year before that, and that was against well, nothing I had seen or know about, so that doesn't surprise me, I guess. Then it was like Big Hero 6 in 2014, which beat out How to Train Your Dragon 2, which is the biggest crime, I think, in the history of the Oscars.
No, How to Train Your Dragon 2 was not story good.
I'm going to jump through the internet and choke you.
Right? We're talking about the one with the mom?
Yes!
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
I thought it was kind of flat. There were parts like when Russell Crowe, not Russell Crowe, Humongous, whatever his name is, you know.
Oh, Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler. When Gerard Butler's singing the song and his wife joins in and they're in the rain and the guy with the stone tooth starts dancing, like that is a good scene. The stuff with most of the dragons, really good. But the mom is really ham-fisted in there.
Oh, man, I just could not disagree with you more. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is... Actually, I haven't seen an animated movie since that I liked more.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there's older ones I like more. But since 2014, I haven't seen an animated film I like more than the second How to Train Your Dragon. But I'm just laying out my personal bias, is what I'm saying. This is the reason I'm like, no, Kyle, you're wrong. I
can see why that movie would speak to you. And the thematic of a family coming back together, like I don't want to read into you and your circumstance, but you also love.
Are you saying because I'm adopted, I am predisposed to liking?
I think the ideas of, and same with Anakin, right? Like I think you connect with those characters a bit more.
No, I connect with Anakin just because I was a Darth Vader fan, and so a few random passages about him in random Star Wars books growing up made me really want movies about him, and then we got the movies and they weren't that great.
That's fair. That's like someone saying, "Oh, you like Neo because you felt disenfranchised with him." No, he did backflips and kicked Agent Smith in the face.
The only movie I can think of that I at least am consciously aware of the fact that I like it because of the fact that I am adopted is the second Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ah, okay.
Because it is, I think, the greatest movie about adoption that I've ever seen. But it also lines up with more of my thought, which is I don't particularly care that much about my birth parents. I think I feel very complete with the family that I have, and that's in my eyes the message of Guardians 2.
Right, you have a new family. You don't need fake quote unquote family to just come in and make it official.
Right. Whereas I think How to Train Your Dragon 2 is more the opposite, which is, I finally found my real parents.
Yeah, that's true.
And yet I really like the movie. So anyways, my point is here is that Pixar/Disney needs to stop winning all the damn animated films.
Fair enough.
And all right, even taking my personal bias out of How to Train Your Dragon 2, would you make an honest argument that Big Hero 6 was better? Because no, I enjoyed Big Hero 6. Don't get me wrong, but not even close.
Well, the bad guy with the liquid nanobots, that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, but fine. Well, you know what? Agree to disagree.
I think both have equal faults, but I agree with you that the stronger story is the sequel, which maybe is cheating. Big Hero 6 had too much good, if that makes sense. Like everything was too escalated. I haven't had to put it into words really, but like his aunt or his mom or his aunt that was taking care of him in town was perfect, and the girlfriend that actually didn't end up dating him, which was kind of a neat twist on it. But that is like engineered in a lab for teenagers to have a crush on. And anytime you pull that sort of stuff, I start to check out a little bit. I'm like, this is science. It's when you find one of those things that's made by committee and not necessarily made out of passion or a person's idea.
Yeah. I mean, again, I like it. It's just I would have preferred Dragon to get it that year.
And I'll give you that.
And the same thing with Zootopia like last year or 2 years ago. I really liked Zootopia. Or sorry, no, it was last year. I really liked Zootopia. It's just I think Kubo and the Two Strings is better. Also, it was up against Moana.
Well,
I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Disney was up against itself that year.
I would give it to Kubo for just how damn hard they work, and if they haven't gotten anything yet, holy crap.
They haven't. And the year I think that illustrates my anger with this more than anything else is 2012. You had Disney up against itself again with Brave and Wreck-It Ralph. But then there were 3 stop motion films, Kyle. Frankenweenie, Paranorman, and Pirates Band of Misfits. And freaking Brave wins. 3 stop motion animated films, and none of them win.
Brave wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't. That's also my point. Paranorman was, again, one of my favorites in a very long time for obvious reasons. That's a movie that you could probably assume I would love. But, damn it.
Well, but that's because of your Tim Burton lust. That's all that is.
Well, if it was my Tim Burton lust, I'd give it to Frankenweenie because it was directed by Tim Burton.
Wait, spaced out. What's the one you said?
Paranorman, which is a Leica film.
Parrot.
Same people that did Kubo, same people that did Coraline.
Wait, Paranorman, the one where he hunts paranormal activities, right?
Yes, has no Tim Burton affiliation at all.
I have 2 movies in my head, Frankenweenie and Paranorman.
Well, they came out in the same year, so I can understand that, but there's no Tim Burton connection to Paranorman.
But it looks like it has that, the young kids have bags under their eyes look.
Well, it's more of a Leica look. I mean, Leica has made more stop motion films than Tim Burton has.
That's true. Why do we always end up there?
Because it's extremely charming, and I love the style, and I never want it to end.
Fair enough.
I mean, why does Pixar always end up with the look that it has?
Yeah.
I mean, the only Pixar movie that probably doesn't kind of look like a Pixar movie is Toy Story. And yet, when we look at the humans, it looks like a Pixar movie.
Yeah, they're definitely.
Actually, I think I got to give Up some credit. Up really kind of pushed the envelope with the stylization of their characters compared to other Pixar films.
Yeah, but let's not think about Up for too long. Okay?
No, it makes me want to cry.
I'm trying to keep it together here.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, that's my rant. Is that Pixar or Disney always wins, despite the competition. Oh, actually, no. I want to talk about Up because in 2009 it beat out Coraline and Fantastic Mr. Fox and another Disney movie, The Princess and the Frog, that I think deserved it more than Up.
Oh, but Fantastic Mr. Fox, that thing was so far up its own butt.
Oh, dude, that movie. I don't like Wes Anderson. I love Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh, and the clicking, the tick that he would do at the end of every line, and half of them weren't even voice actors. Like, it was over the hedge, but with art on top of it.
Oh, man, I disagree. I love it.
Oh, it was bad.
All right, well, can we at least agree that either Princess and the Frog and Coraline should have won over Up?
Not at the time. Not on. But I think with time, Princess and the Frog has become one of my favorite Disney movies for some reason. Maybe it's the songs. I think it's the songs, actually. It's got really fun songs.
It's everything, man. It's a really solid story. The songs are amazing. The art is out of this damn world.
Yeah.
And the film has this meta level of tragedy because it didn't perform well enough to where they won't be making any more movies like this anytime soon.
Yeah, it's and like I would agree. I would agree with what you just said, that's who should win and roll over and make way for the champion. But I really like Princess and the Frog now.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, just get out of here, Up. Get out of here. Up suffers from similar issues I have with WALL-E, where they take their metaphor and they wring too much out of it.
With WALL-E, is it the planet's all dead and recycle metaphor?
No, it's the other. It's once we get off the planet, that movie drops in quality tenfold, in my opinion. Once we get to all humans are fat, blubbery, roly-polies, and this is the world we're going to inhabit for the rest of our movie. The first half of it, I think, is the bravest filmmaking I've seen in an animated film. It's like a silent movie, and it's great. And then we get to Chuckle Fart Fatland.
A bit, yeah. I don't know. I like a lot of other no captain on the ship wheel and assistant bot and rogue robots said by Sigourney Weaver and
I do like the Rogue Robot, but it doesn't save that final act for me. Yeah. Which is a shame because oh my god, the first half of WALL-E is so charming. I love it.
You can't put these movies up against each other. I think is what we're actually coming to.
I think you can, and I think they need to lay off the Disney train. Is what I'm trying to say. Not this year, but it reminded me of this trend that drives me nuts. Is that Disney or Pixar is up for it? Well, give it to them.
You won't believe this, Garrett, but it might be a business, and there could be reasons for these things happening.
Maybe, Kyle. Maybe. Oh my God, Happy Feet 1. Ugh. Not a Disney movie. I hate that movie. I love penguins. I can't stand Happy Feet.
The biggest problem with Happy Feet is the lack of Ewan McGregor.
Fair enough. I'd rather watch the Penguin documentary that Morgan Freeman narrated.
Yeah, they poop a lot, though. Happy Feet took away the poop, which is pretty nice. Because really, think about, picture the documentaries you've seen. Now, have them do tap dancing in that snow.
Fair enough. Well, you want to take a game break? Because we've both been playing the same game, which is actually rare outside of Heroes of the Storm.
Yes.
All right. So
let's talk.
So I have... I'm going to break my back pat myself right now. I have successfully convinced you to try Into the Breach, and you love it.
It's true. I think that was an interesting little experience, right? Because what was it? It was after this week's Into the Nexus. Kyle, you got to play this game. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I've been hurt before. And actually working through the memories, it was that I was totally all about to try Final Fantasy Tactics when some kid, don't really remember, came up to me and was like, you can't play that. You don't like Final Fantasy. And took it from me. Turned it off, took over the computer, started playing for me. Something in my mind said, no, these games are bad for bad people. And seeing the grid-based square, my brain just went, nope. And it's from my guys. My guys doing Fast and Light. My brain went, no, you don't get to.
Huh. That's interesting because, first of all, it's like the internet came alive and accosted you in the real world. But also, I would say if you don't like Final Fantasy Tactics is the perfect game to play because it's not a freaking Final Fantasy game.
I mean, we all did it. Did I do it? Probably. Check out my Pokemon cards. Slap out of their hand. You didn't beat Red. Where's your Elite Four badge? You dick. And you run off into the sunset or whatever, right? Like you think you're cool.
I probably tried to do it and then was outed as a bigger nerd and even less cool for trying to correct someone who was trying to break into nerddom. Probably happened with Star Wars around the prequels as I was actually beat up for liking Star Wars, and then suddenly all the cool kids liked it.
Yeah, well, we all have to deal with those. I'm even dealing with that a little bit right now. Like, we have an email to There Will Be Dungeons that was like, man, I'm so happy you guys are doing a D&D podcast because I thought it was only for huge nerds. And I'm like, is that still a thought? Are we still like sitting playing our MMOs and watching esports and going, yeah, I hope I'm not sitting in a room with 4 real people playing a game on paper, you nerd.
I think it is. I think that's...
Yeah?
Is it there's no part of you that think that's like still a little fair? Like, I mean, it is... It's nerdy. I don't think that's a bad thing, though. It's just... I think there's still a barrier to entry to pen and paper. There are people our age that have the same aversion to this type of stuff that I would say someone like my dad does. And that's just a wall I think you'll never get through. Whereas Star Wars, Marvel, and all of that, those walls have been broken down. I don't think D&D's has.
It's so strange to me. And I remember, I had a group, and if I were to rank them in terms of role players, there was 8 in this group. It was huge. Fantastic campaign, really, really intricate with so many players. But one of the guys had to bail because he was so nervous about not getting dates because he was saying that, oh, if I can't meet up Saturday, I have D&D. The mere act of trying to gymnastics his texts around our D&D time and make dates without actually saying where he was too painful for him. And he was worried about his chances. That was tragic. And to me, in my position, with my wife coming over and seeing my D&D books, so soon, eventually wife in college, seeing my D&D books for the first time and going, oh my God, what are those? Whoa, those are D&D, no way. I didn't know these are actually real. Like, that was such a magical experience. And anyone who misses out on that, like, well, you shouldn't date them in the first place. But all side notes. It's good.
Yeah. Anyway, so Into the Breach. I'm just excited because
Yes.
I have a pretty bad track record with convincing you to play games and enjoy them.
This is, like, spot on, though. I mean, I like cheeseburgers. Do you like a double cheeseburger? Oh, my God, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad. So yeah, man. Every time I got on Steam this weekend, I saw you in that game. So you're digging it.
I mean, I did get up and do dishes and cook food and take care of posts. But yes, I did put 25 hours since Friday.
Holy
according to Steam into
shit.
it.
I'm so jealous.
I mean, I did stuff and I left it on.
jealous. Oh my God. I had so much crap to do this weekend, and that stupid old lady kept me from playing a game even longer.
It's turn-based. You can get up anytime, and it's just relaxing stuff.
Oh yeah, man. This game it's everything I hoped it would be. It's so nice when shit is just what you expect it to be.
Well, not only that, they fix so much wrong with the genre, with a couple of really cool ideas. And I'm talking about the mech genre, the city fight genre. I know a lot of people have this opinion. It's not a unique one. I hate it when buildings get destroyed. They're just, you idiots. Like, I'm okay with Avengers because they're like, pull the fight away from the building, and the Hulk's like the biggest thing that happens, and he runs through an office building. But that's okay. Isn't there one part where the fish kind of swims through a building, and that's a bit much? But like, at least it's the bad guy that does it.
The
Pacific Rim
fish?
is like, yeah, the party fish from the sky.
Oh yeah. In the first Avengers, yeah. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
the second Avengers, they take way too much time explaining why the city is abandoned.
Yeah, exactly. So you try to come up with these excuses. And in Pacific Rim, they're like, punch the dude, and it flies through a building. His punch flies through a building, and the bad guy flies through 5 buildings. And it looks sweet, but I'm thinking, like, what the hell is wrong with you? You're here to save the Earth. And you're doing an awful job.
That hasn't bothered me as much. That's funny. I mean, it bothers me in superhero movies because I feel like they have the capability to cut their losses.
Right. When you talk about Superman being like, laser eyes, bzz, and the whole building goes, krr, krr, you're like, you could have controlled yourself.
Yeah, and it bothers me specifically in Superman movies because Superman is supposed to save everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my issue. I actually like Man of Steel, but that's one of my gripes about that movie. I don't give a crap that Superman kills. I care. It bothers me more that he doesn't go out of his way to save more people.
Right. I don't care if Batman brings out a gun. It's just what he does with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So by the way Into the Breach works and the way you discover it is just so fascinating. First of all, it's that pixel graphics like Fast and Light, but on top of it, you can imagine an anime. You can imagine a world. It's a really cool, not Dark Souls-like, because that's thrown around for everything, but like Dark Souls, there's as much story as you personally care to get out of it, and you can just not give a crap and enjoy the gameplay.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've ended up, was not really giving a crap and enjoying the gameplay, but I think by not giving a crap and the way the game kind of forces you to play, it reinforces the game's world and the game's story anyway. Like, you need to be saving these buildings, one way or the other. Your mech's life is expendable, whereas the buildings around you are not, to a certain degree. I would say in the hierarchy of resources, mech's life is at the very top. Like, just let it go. Even kill a pilot if you have to. It doesn't matter that much. underneath that, I would say, is your power grid, which is based on the building life, where you should expend that to certain degrees, but you can't too much, or that's how you lose the game.
And when you impose that imagination over these graphics, there are such badass things you do. Like, one mech picks up a guy and throws him over the head, and the next guy slams into the mountain explodes, and then you shoot a friendly laser through that, and it blows him through another wall, and then you got your lightning guy, and he shocks 3 buildings, and down the line it hits another dude who explodes into bug guts. And I am just having a blast with it.
Yeah. It's and I gotta say, man, like, going back to FTL, like, tabletop has made me, I think, is responsible for me enjoying these games as much as I do, because it's reactivated my imagination. And so I can go and play these games that are nothing but pixel art, which I like in its own right. Like, I find the style of Subset Games is now only 2 games awesome. Like, I really like their pixel art. But my brain really takes it and runs. And I think the same thing with Bethesda games. For the longest time, I just avoided them because I thought they looked ugly, and I still kind of think they do. But thanks to tabletop, I actually played and enjoyed the most recent Fallout.
Yeah, and that's interesting for you to say. And once you break that, like, a lot of games, even before they come out, are bad. Like, a lot, particularly during the MMO boom, they would put out MMOs that looked realistic, and you're just like, oh man, way to screw up before you even released. Oh my God. You gotta have that room. And that's something that World of Warcraft still does really well, even though we're all kind of spamming Shadowbolt and whatnot. There's that room for the imagination to fill in all the other bits.
Yeah. And if there's anything you should take away from that, there you go. That you should not feel embarrassed for playing D&D, because even if someone's like, if a nerd, you can just be like, yeah, well, the world I see is a lot cooler than the one you do.
That's true. And I haven't been called an effing nerd in a long, long time. It was just merely the sentiment that had me kind of go, oh.
I was tying it back into your friend who apparently avoided it for hopes of making himself a more attractive mate, I guess.
Yeah. That's just sad, too, because he was having such a great time.
I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, as long as it's not something you have a deep love for.
That's fair, right? And my opinion of Dungeons & Dragons is so high that I would need my significant other to understand what was important about that for me.
Yeah.
I also understand that there are healthy relationships out there where you game all night and they read a book all night and you don't really see each other, but you have company, and that's healthy too.
Yeah, I do a lot of my gamings, I probably play for 2 hours after about 11 p.m. That's when Katie kind of starts to doze off.
Yeah, and Kristen reads like crazy. And if I was, if one of us was to walk in, well, you're just sitting there reading that book over and over again. What the hell's wrong with you? And she's like, well, you're just sitting at your computer with their house. We're both doing the same thing.
Right.
Sitting and relaxing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, no, you're right. So, but I mean, I don't know. Back to Into the Breach, man. This game is, it's $15. We're not sponsored. I'm going to get nothing from recommending the shit out of this game, but I can't think of a more entertaining use of $15.
It's a high value piece, and the game wants you to unlock more mechs, and as you do, you discover new strategies, and most of them, when you unlock a new set, will be like, what the crap is this even for? Why would I ever do this? And it takes you several tries, particularly on easy where there's less enemies. Gosh, this guy makes hard games. And my opinion, I'm sure someone just went, I'm beating Fast and Light all the time, but it's hard. These are hard games.
I have beaten Fast and Light twice. That is it. I have completed a run twice in that game. I have probably put 30 hours into it.
Oh, easy. And, plenty of times on the easy mode, and like once on hard with the Federation Johnson ship, whatever it was called. The gameplay hook is so interesting. And what's been your favorite set so far? Like, what's your favorite mech team? Or have you made a custom one yet?
I've only unlocked 2. So I only have the first one and the Rusting Hulks.
Rusting Hulks are good?
I think I like the Rusting Hulks better than the Rift Walkers, although damn, I love the combat mech from the Riftwalkers. The punchy, the one that just
Yeah.
punches, or you can upgrade it to dash, or if you get lucky enough to find the upgrade that you mentioned where you can toss an enemy over you. Oh, it's Diablo from Heroes, man. It's just I just this hulking brute that just punches things to death, and if you find that upgrade, it allows you to really manipulate the battlefield.
The fire guys are frustrating as hell. You have to get people on fire first before you can do good damage, and they all have really rather unique little gimmicks. But I agree with you too. My most profitable in terms of points win has been with 3 of those prime mechs from the original Riftwalker set, just punching dudes and pushing them back simple style.
I want to say my best friend so far has been with the Rusting Hulks. The ability to have damage over time because of the passive perk on the smoke is pretty gross. It's pretty it took me a long time to get one of the kill 7 Vec in one mission completions. Like I had such trouble with it with the Riftwalkers, and then I switched over to the Rusting Hulks, and I got that smoke always damages passive, and it was just like, oh man, I'm just killing shit left and right.
Yeah, they're fun. In particular, the science vessel you get with the Riftwalkers that just does the simple push. That was one of those where I loaded up and I was like, this is shit. This whole, oh my god, it's great. This guy's great. It gives shields to everybody. I love him. Yeah.
I was the same exact boat. I'm like, why would I ever want this? Oh my god, I see the Matrix. Yeah, it's incredible. But I just want more time, man. I just want more time to play this. I just want more time to play this. After the holiday break, when I took a break from some Blizzard games and made it a point to play some non-Blizzard games, I'm now just continuing to make time for other games, and I'm just a lot happier.
Well, it's healthy, and for better or for worse, I feel like my time in Blizzard games, because of the social features they've been adding, are more happy, are more valuable, are more social.
Yeah, no, I agree.
At night, when I don't want to be social anymore, I have found the comfort of many, many Steam games, and I feel like proper diet that I am a much happier person.
Yeah. That's how I always used to play games. I used to play multiple games, with the exception of World of Warcraft in college, because I was broke. And even then, we would play Rock Band, we would play Smash Brothers.
Well, World of Warcraft at that time was basically a fee to stop all the other video gaming for me. Like I was going to pay $15 so I wouldn't spend $250 on 3 different games over the course of that month.
Yeah.
And then the free-to-play market grew as we graduated from college, and then I was crazy, not with money, poor, if you will, but I don't like the way that word gets thrown around, because I remember being like, I'm poor in high school. I'm so poor, guys. And it's like, you don't even have a job. You're poor because you spent it on Pokemon cards, your allowance. Nice job, kid. Don't complain about being poor. But, that was the time period. We had to save so we could pay rent, and now finally starting to break free of that. But at the same time, I feel like games are finally costing what they should, and like Divinity,
and
I beat Divinity,
and yet we're having a very large conversation about how games are probably should be more expensive.
Well, that's the thing in the background, right? Like that ain't right in many ways, and that's led to the whole EA cash grab.
I mean, I'm frankly so done with loot boxes at this point. If a game came out and just and literally use it as a tagline, like no loot boxes, $20 more, bring it on. I will pay it immediately.
Well, and the worst part is the discovery, the unlocking of so many of those treats. That was the gameplay. That's why I played your game more than normal, and the whole loot box, the whole purchasable items things has just been the saddest exchange between creators and gamers in a long, long time.
Yeah. It's bumming me out, but let's lift our spirits and take a few questions before we wrap up, shall we?
Yes.
If you want to send your emails in, send them to amovetv@gmail.com or tweet at us at Garrett Art, at Kyle Ferguson, at Mr. Jeff Reynolds from Heroes Forge has a question for us today, Kyle. He wants to know if we would rather lose all our money and valuables or all of the pictures we have ever taken.
Oh, that's an easy one.
Yeah, I'd rather lose all the pictures I've ever taken.
Yes. But I'm a man of memories, you know, like that. That's what's important to me. When I head out, I hate the idea of having my head in my phone or a camera the whole day.
I am the worst about taking pictures.
I wish I had more, particularly of like young pets, because it's funny as that. I'm sure we even ourselves out between me and Kristen, perhaps with the pet pictures. And I see that activity continuing with our family eventually, but I don't see myself with a camcorder. I don't see myself being the VHS dad like mine was.
Me neither. I don't know. I'm not there, so I don't know. But I can certainly tell you where I am right now. I am in my second year of home ownership, and the scariest thing right now is falling behind a point where I can make that payment.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm at in my life. There's a big bias there.
Right. If we're talking, you know, I'm 60 and, you know, I'm running my wrinkly hand down the plastic sheets of my photo book, and you're saying, do you want to lose all this retirement savings or every part of your memories because you can't remember them very well and the pictures help now? Like, then I'm probably going to answer a bit differently.
Yeah. No, we have a bunch of photos from our wedding. None of them are up. Because I'd rather sit there and talk about, like, hey, man, remember, Katie, remember how much fun that freaking wedding was? Man, we had such a good time. And we always joke, like, anytime we're down at my parents' where we got married, I was like, man, can we just do the party aspect of that again? Can we do that again? Can we just skip everything else and just have a party like that again? Because it was a lot of fun.
I mean, it's going to be there. I've accepted this. There's going to be family written in cursive with, like, the words hope and some other bullshit written next to it. And it's going to have all the photos, and Kristen's going to love it. And it's going to be manicured and dusted every weekend. It's going to be fantastic. And I'm going to think it's the cheesiest pile in the world. But, you know, it means the world to my mom, her mom, Kristen. And that's fine. That's great.
Yeah. Actually, oddly enough, Jeff, thank you for asking this. I just uncovered Katie's photo album from high school.
Oh.
And since we dated in high school, it's a bunch of pictures of her and I being young idiots.
Nice.
Yeah. That ain't showing up on Twitter anytime soon. I tell you that right now.
No, you just keep those to yourself.
Yep. But I had a good time just perusing that while I was emptying a box that it was still here from the move.
Wow.
Yep. Moving on. Badger Lord asks, what's a game or game series that you love, but by most standards is seen as bad, be it poor reviews, bad implementations, etc.? Mine was Dark Spore, which EA took down a couple of years ago and can no longer be played. It was a Diablo-style action RPG in the Spore universe. I didn't know this was a thing, and this sounds like hot crap.
I mean, it probably was pretty decent, but the original Spore release was so marred. Gosh. Your first 2 hours of Spore was something magical, though. Maybe even the first 30 minutes. The whole tide pool thing was a lot of fun. But after that, I beat it. I went as far as I could in Spore. I didn't play Dark Spore, though. I saw it and said, it's a cute idea, but this isn't happening.
Oh, man, this game looks like something I would not like. Although, to be honest, I thought Spore looked lame as hell, and I never played it.
Well, particularly in the past, you sacrificed a lot for customization in a game, and you're willing to put up with those sacrifices.
Gotcha. Yeah, this does not look like my jam, but it does look Diablo as hell.
And I think it was before Diablo 3.
What a supremely strange jump to make from what Spore was to a Diablo clone.
Not entirely, though, because many people enjoyed the walk around, kill stuff, and get arms and legs portion. So it sort of follows that same idea.
Okay. All right. So there's more of a through line than I'm giving it credit.
Yeah. There's a bit more of a gameplay loop there as you would upgrade your character that you made. And I see the appeal, but Spore was not well done.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give Spore that. I understand why so many people were excited for it, but it's just not the type of game that would make me excited, I guess. For me, hold on to your butts, I would say the PS2 era Matrix games.
Wow.
I loved those games, and they were so shit on.
Yeah.
I mean, they looked bad. They were not
Well,
pretty games.
well, going back in time, they look real bad. The one that was done with the two unique characters that barely appeared in the movies, that one was a good graphics game at the time.
I disagree.
Was that Enter the Matrix?
Yeah,
Or
I was
no,
Enter the
that's
Matrix.
Third
I think those games looked bad at the time. I was real standoffish. I wasn't going to buy it. It was a random Christmas gift. I remember at the time, like looking at the back of the box, being like, "Oh man, this looks like shit." Like, look at that, and like, I mean, it's a vehicles are easier to render, but like, look at that, and look at Spy Hunter, which was like a launch game. Like, it's no comparison. End of the Matrix, I think, is a pretty shit looking game for even for the generation. But I oddly loved both those games. I played the shit out of them. I played them so much. I beat them both on multiple difficulties.
Sometimes it's just about what's available to play.
I mean,
What you
yeah,
got.
that too. But I mean, I'd certainly played games at the time too that I just didn't like. I'm struggling to think of an example, but I legitimately enjoyed those games. And I remember like watching X play back in the day and them just crapping all over it. But such is life, I guess. And then kind of in the same wheelhouse, John Jagger wants to know what our biggest guilty pleasure is.
I mean, for me, my game I've talked about many times is Prototype. It was the competitor to Infamous during the great comic book video game wars of
But not actually
2013.
but not actually a comic book.
Right. That thing that happened.
What the hell even spawned that? Was it Heroes? Was they were like, oh my god, here's a comic book thing that's not actually a comic book. Let's do that.
I don't know. They both came out around the same time, so it started some sort of console war. Maybe they were both on different consoles. Wasn't that it? Like, Infamous was only on Xbox or something?
No, Infamous was a Sony exclusive, but I thought Prototype was console agnostic. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it was both. So I don't know why those two came to heads, but they just... Prototype was an awful game. But it let you run around at top speed over buildings while being able to summon a super suit and turn your arm into a sword. And those are two things that I needed in my life desperately. Still do. I still upload. From time to time, I still download Prototype. I play through the opening until I get to the super suit and run around in circles. There's like 3 different kinds of enemies. The combat is stupid, but it just scratches an itch.
That was Spider-Man 2 for me, the game.
Yeah.
I just wanted to swing around New York in that game. Hulk Ultimate Destruction was another one. It was just like, I mean, you want the Kyle, if you hate breaking buildings, do I have a game that will set you off? It's called Hulk Ultimate Destruction, and it's a crime that never made any more of those.
That's like saying, the Ghostbusters didn't have to destroy all that stuff. What goes the territory, right?
Right. But guilty pleasure, I wasn't even thinking about games. I don't even think I have a guilty pleasure game. I feel like Prototype reviewed pretty well, too. I remember people talking about digging it, but maybe I could be wrong. For me, I always go to music, and I feel like I shouldn't because a while ago I heard a few years back, I remember hearing a interview with Dave Grohl where he said, there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. If you like Britney Spears, turn that shit up. Like, But at the same time, it's just where my brain goes, man, and I would say mine is Good Charlotte. Like, they were a poppy-ass pop-punk band with members that dress like the biggest D-bags on earth. And they have...
What's their main song?
It depends on the era.
Anything I would know?
I mean, probably the biggest hit from when we were growing up would have been... probably Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
How's that go?
Lifestyles of the rich and the famous. They're always complaining.
So that's the main course, and I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Anthem. Yeah, Anthem was a big one, man. That was a huge one. But yeah,
killed Andromeda too.
Killed Andromeda.
Anthem, EA joke.
Oh man. Andromeda killed Andromeda, Kyle.
And yes, Andromeda murdered Andromeda.
Mass Effect murdered itself. It pulled out a plastic-looking pistol and pulled the trigger.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And this is coming from a guy who legitimately enjoys Lady Gaga, and everyone always gives me shit about that. I somehow think Good Charlotte's more of a guilty pleasure than Lady Gaga.
There's nothing wrong with Lady Gaga. I mean, I think there's only like a couple. The only person I can really think that like a modern that I would accept abuse on would maybe be like Justin Bieber.
Yeah, well, he's just
because
a terrible
that is
human being.
legitimately bad. Like that you have Despacito, like, oh hey, Despacito, right, for the 1,000th time, but who cares, Despacito? But then he comes in with his Despacito, and you're like, get the hell out of here! Nobody wants ya. I
try really hard in my life, Kyle, to be accepting of most things. I draw the line at liking Justin Bieber.
There have been one or two songs that I was like, oh, okay, what's that, Spotify? Oh, should I? I'm alone. It's okay. Maybe I'll keep it going. But guilty. That's tough.
Yeah.
I have strived to be in a part in my life where I don't feel guilty about my enjoyments.
And I find the Lady Gaga thing a little bit odd personally because I really don't like Madonna, and yet I understand the through line drawn between Madonna and Gaga.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you what it is. I think at a certain point I just don't like Madonna's voice, and I really like Lady Gaga's voice.
I think the only thing that ever pushed me, because Lady Gaga from the moment she came out was a lot of fun to listen to. It was just the I'm young, never embarrassed. Look at the meat on my head, and you're just like, okay, you can just come on back when you're ready, girl. Just come on back.
It's what it kind of like. I liked the full package that you get with Lady Gaga, which is she is musically extremely talented. Because like when you go and pull up anything she has done where she just sings and plays piano, and it blows my mind every time, and yet she just does these outlandish insanity freaking avant-garde dresses and whatnot, and I kind of enjoy it because it's like she doesn't need to do that. She's good enough without it, but I kind of enjoy just her zaniness.
No, and there is like that quality to it, but it's not Katy Perry. Katy Perry owns it. And when she is dancing with 7 sharks and lightning shooting out of her tits, like, great. and you know that she's on board. She was like, can we have more sharks and can there be lightning? And they're like, yeah, of course there can, Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Whereas like Lady Gaga or Miley Cyrus, it kind of felt like committee. Like they went through a phase for like maybe a weekend, maybe a month. And they were like, yes, keep on that. And they came into work one day, they're growing out their hair, the meat's off. And they're like, you know what, I'm feeling pretty good today. And they're like, but your image is not feeling good. So shave your head, get back to it. Let's go. You know?
Maybe you're making me think that maybe a thing that has happened to me post-college has been I like female pop performers, which was something that never resonated with me growing up. Because you're right. I kind of like Katy Perry. I kind of like Beyonce. I kind of like Miley Cyrus. Not Miley Cyrus. What's her real name?
Hannah Montana?
Hannah Montana. Oh, no, Miley Cyrus is her real name. Yeah. Hannah Montana is her fake name. Yeah, like I'm kind of into all of it now. Whereas, like, when it was, Destiny's Child and Christina Aguilera growing up, I was just like, get this away from me.
There was also a certain amount of rejection, I think, because, my little sister, my mom, they loved Britney Spears. And so I would go to school knowing all the lyrics and maybe even like legitimately enjoying quite a few songs. And all the guys around me are like, yeah, she's hot. She's so hot. And you're just like, what the crap is like.
I have an admission, Kyle.
Yeah?
I had a Britney Spears poster on my wall.
Ah,
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I've only ever had Indiana Jones on my walls growing up.
I had a bunch of. There was Star Wars, Indiana Jones, the biggest James Bond Tomorrow Never Dies poster because I couldn't find a GoldenEye one you've ever seen. It was so big that if I walked into my room while sleepy, I would think a man with a gun was in my room, and it scared me on multiple occasions. And Britney Spears. So I had a bunch of. Yeah. There you go.
Like, I have to think about this for a moment, so pardon me.
My brain is immediately taking this to, is that still a thing? I feel like that's not still a thing.
But we're also older. But, like, I mean, I want to ask a question, and I'm trying to phrase it correctly. The basis of it is, what did that do for you? And, like, what is the goal? Like, you always see it in teen movies. Like, the kid has girls all over the wall. But you're too young to date that particular woman, and you're not exactly learned enough to... Like, what? How did that happen?
Puberty, Kyle. Is it really that large of a mystery to you?
I guess.
All right, Kyle. What I want, this is your assignment as your puberty memory doctor. I'm prescribing to you. Go watch Fully Cooley this weekend, and let's revisit this conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
Fully Cooley, to me, is the most accurate existential depiction of male puberty that I have ever seen.
Yeah, that's fair.
Of straight male puberty, to specify. But yeah, I don't know. I'm embarrassed to admit that fact, but I feel it should be admitted.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, you never had any posters of bikini-clad women on your wall?
No, I didn't. I mean, I certainly, was up late watching TV or Conan O'Brien or I guess it would have been Jay Leno at the time. And then The Girls Gone Wild would come on. You'd be like, what is that? And you'd be like hypnotized as a child.
Oh, that shit still happens on Comedy Central.
They still play that?
Well, Girls Gone Wild, I believe, got sued. And I think the guy that started it went to jail for quite a while. So that's not a thing anymore.
But there's videos being produced in this manner.
Yeah, now on comedy, because we still I fall asleep most nights watching Comedy Central. Now it's like streaming websites is what they're advertising.
Oh, okay. So at least it's on modern point.
It's amazing how much things have changed and how much they haven't. Is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah,
it's updated, but it's the same shit that was on Comedy Central at 11:30 at night.
I mean, I was just concerned about getting 2 VHSs for $9.99 or whatever, but now,
Yeah. I don't know. I also went to Catholic school for 11 years, and that shit is repressing in a lot of ways. So that may have had something to do with it.
Just break it out, knowing that this is your home, free of that oppression.
Yeah, pretty much. So I don't know. That was strange. And knowing how weird my parents were about things, I'm surprised that even flew in my household.
Yeah.
Strange stuff. We've gotten very introspective on this episode.
We have.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting show.
And yet all of this, I would say Good Charlotte's the biggest the thing I feel guiltiest about.
Yeah.
So with that in mind.
I'm pretty bad about Prototype too, man.
So Kyle, this week, listen to a little Good Charlotte and watch Fully Cooley.
Sounds good. I don't think it holds up. Is my initial reaction to Fully Cooley. I have not wanted to pursue watching it again recently.
Really? Oh, dude, it's still one of my all-time favorites. It might be my favorite still. I don't know. As far as anime is concerned, it's tough. It's weird. I don't know. It's a mood thing. Like I feel it constantly. My favorite anime bounces between Fully Cooley and Death Note, and they're just wildly different. It's like, do I want kind of zany, just anime as shit, insanity? Then it's Fully Cooley. If I just want this is just a show I loved to pieces, it's Death Note.
Well, we'll have to have Kristen on because she's been enjoying. I forget the word, but she's been doing a lot of the graphic novels on Steam recently, like the Men of Japan dating sim kind of stuff.
Oh damn! Oh
yeah.
Oh man!
If we should do that. We should have her on sometime soon to talk about that because it's been a lot of fun watching her go through entirely content that is there. There's a lot of it too. People can be like, the game industry, it's all porno for guys, but there's emotional pornography all over Steam. where you could play like 7 hours and you finally get kissed, and that was your whole goal.
I am getting sold super hard on Lady Bird in the chat room right now, by the way, which was another movie that was all over the Oscars last night that I know nothing about, but apparently it is set in Catholic school. And I'm being told it's like the female puberty equivalent to Fooly Cooly. I need to see this. That sounds like something that would strike a chord with me. But yeah, anytime Kristen wants to come on and talk about those games, man, open invite.
Sounds good.
Open invite. Let her just give me a little bit of a heads up so I can put together a 3-person overlay.
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Rad. Sweet, man. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you for your questions, everybody. Keep them coming. amovetv@gmail.com or tweet at us at Garrett Art or at Kyle Ferguson. By the way, if you liked our little chat about Into the Breach, I do want to let everyone know not only have I rebranded my solo show, it was The Angry Nerd, it is now called R2T2.
I like it.
2 R's, 2 T's, and Garrett. And my first episode of this rebranded, it's not, I didn't renumber it. It's, if you're subscribed to The Angry Nerd, you're still getting it, and it's episode 50 for the first episode of R2D2. It's the same freaking show. I just changed the name. But I did like a beginner's guide for Into the Breach. So go give that a listen. It's 30 minutes long. Go give it a listen. I was wrong about 2 things, which I would like to addend here. One, you cannot keep your rep between islands. I thought you could. I found, no, they wipe it if you don't spend it. And 2, the weapon that swaps the attack direction of a Vec does not require power. So take it.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah. After the fact, I realized that I had misspoke on those 2 points. But other than that, I think it's a pretty solid beginner's guide.
Don't be seduced by Judo Ka, I think is the name of the group. It says something like, these robots are really, really good at making the aliens attack each other. And you're like, oh, that sounds amazing. But actually, they're crap. But then again, I also called Rusty Buckets crap and the Fire Team crap. And most of them, you just don't know how to play yet.
Right. You just get so used to the one you're playing. And but anyway, hey, man, you do other stuff besides Weeksauce. Where can folks find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Kyle Ferguson, where we will be on break for several weeks. No more Sunday shows at the moment. We have completed Divinity 2. It is done. It is dead. We killed it. And we're going to take some time off because we played that game for 5 months. So check out the VODs over there for the end. It took us 95 hours to beat that game, so it will not end up on YouTube, naturally. And also check out... there will be dungeons over at Frog Pants, the D&D 5.0 podcast. Great episode this last weekend. Just amazing cast of characters, but also, damn, man, Bo Schwartz. Holy crap. Pulling off some really cool multifaceted scenes for us as we exited town this last week and really flexing those muscles as the DM. That's
freaking dope, man. That's such an awesome project. I know I've said it before, but like, damn.
It's a blast.
That is a bucket of fun. Folks, I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. As I already mentioned, all the shows I do can be found at amove.tv. If somehow you have found this before Into the Nexus, Kyle and I do a show about Heroes of the Storm called Into the Nexus. Embrace the Spoilers is coming back this month. We're going to be doing Pac Rim, the sequel, and the Tomb Raider movie. Very excited about both of those. And there's plenty of other jazz. A lot of stuff happening in Hearthstone right now. Check out the Angry Chicken. That's going to wrap it up for this week's Weeksauce. Happy Monday. Good luck in the rest of your week, everybody, and have fun.
Take care.
Rad. Chat room, you've been awesome. Thank you. Apparently, I really need to see Lady Bird. That sounds awesome. And I'm going to kill the stream now. Bye.